The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 gave all nations the right to explore and use space peacefully, but also made them responsible for keeping space safe, avoiding war, and caring for the planets, moon, and stars. It encouraged countries to work together and treated space as something everyone on Earth shares while establishing rights and responsibilities that have shaped the future of space exploration. The journey to the Outer Space Treaty began in the 1940s with the development of rockets like Germany's V-2, which blurred the lines between military and space technology. The V-2 rocket was originally built as a weapon during the war. However, it later became the design that inspired many rockets used in early space programs by the United States and the Soviet Union. After World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers in the Cold War. As rocket technology advanced, intercontinental ballistic missiles were developed by both countries to showcase their dominance that paved the way for what is known as the space race. On October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite that marked the start of the space race. This was a turning point, proving that space could be a powerful tool for communication and a potential battleground.
In the history of the Earth, no other event had captured the imagination of so many people.
On January 31st, 1958, the United States launched its first satellite, Explorer 1.
Explorer is in orbit, broadcasting to the world its coded scientific data. Cosmic ray.
Built by a team of scientists led by Dr. James Van Allen, it carried instruments that discovered the radiation belts surrounding Earth, later named the Van Allen Belts. This historic achievement marked America's entry into the space race, showcasing its commitment to advancing science and technology in space exploration. As the space race intensified, so did fears of space becoming militarized. In 1959, the United Nations formed the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, tasked with creating laws to govern space activities. Negotiations began, with countries debating critical issues. Could nations claim parts of the moon? Would weapons be allowed in space? Amid these debates, the space race continued to push boundaries, with each nation striving to showcase its technological and scientific dominance. Then, in 1961, the Soviet Union achieved a groundbreaking milestone that captured the world's attention and shifted the focus of space exploration.
Site in the Soviet Union, a multi-stage rocket takes off, successfully launching a man into space. An historic achievement and a victory for the Soviet in the race to achieve the first manned space flight.
Yuri Gagarin made history as the first human to travel into space. As a Soviet cosmonaut, Gagarin orbited Earth aboard the spacecraft Vostok 1, a journey that lasted just 108 minutes, but changed the world forever. In 1961, during the height of the space race, President John F. Kennedy set an ambitious goal that would define a generation. In a speech to Congress in 1961, he declared that the United States would land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decade's end.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
This vision launched the Apollo program, pushing the boundaries of science and technology. Engineers, scientists, and astronauts worked tirelessly, overcoming countless challenges to achieve what seemed impossible. As the space race progressed, the United Nations General Assembly took steps to ensure space would remain a place of peace, not conflict. The committee worked hard over the next several years to draft a groundbreaking agreement. By 1966, a framework was in place emphasizing that space should be free for all nations to explore, used only for peaceful purposes, and safeguarded from weapons of mass destruction. These discussions laid the foundation for the Outer Space Treaty, a historic step toward global cooperation beyond Earth. By 1967, an agreement was reached. The United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom became the first countries to sign the Outer Space Treaty. The Outer Space Treaty ensures that space belongs to all nations and no country can claim ownership of the Moon, Mars, or any other celestial body. This right guarantees that space exploration remains open to everyone for peaceful purposes. All nations have the right to conduct scientific research in space and are encouraged to share discoveries for the benefit of humanity. This has led to advancements in planetary exploration, climate monitoring, and deep space observation. Space must be used only for peaceful purposes, and the treaty prohibits weapons of mass destruction in orbit or on celestial bodies. This ensures that space remains a place for scientific progress rather than military conflict. Countries have the right to launch and operate spacecraft and satellites as long as they follow international agreements. These satellites support modern life, enabling global communication, navigation, and disaster monitoring. No country can block another from exploring space, meaning all nations have equal access to the Moon, planets, and beyond. This has encouraged global cooperation in space exploration, leading to projects like the International Space Station. The Outer Space Treaty gives all countries the right to explore space, use satellites, and conduct research. But with those rights come big responsibilities and rules that help keep space peaceful, safe, and open for everyone. Let's take a look at what countries must do to protect space for the future. The Outer Space Treaty makes sure that space stays peaceful. Countries aren't allowed to put weapons in space or claim planets for themselves, so space stays safe for everyone. Countries have to be careful not to pollute space or damage planets and moons. When countries launch satellites or rockets, they have to take responsibility for what they send in space. That means if a satellite breaks or turns into space junk, they need to clean it up so it does not crash into other missions. If an astronaut is in danger, other nations must provide help, and any spacecraft that lands unexpectedly must be returned safely. This principle promotes unity and responsibility among spacefaring nations. The Outer Space Treaty isn't just about what countries can do, it's also about what they should do to keep space safe and fair for everyone. As we explore further into space, these rules help make sure we protect the universe for future generations. Today, the Outer Space Treaty remains a cornerstone of space law. It has shaped modern space exploration, fostering partnerships like the International Space Station, where astronauts worldwide work together. While the treaty has been successful, new challenges have emerged. The rise of private space companies raises questions about resource ownership and accountability. Space debris poses a growing threat to satellites and missions, requiring international collaboration to manage. Nations are also debating how to address future issues like mining resources from asteroids. Despite these challenges, the principles of the Outer Space Treaty continue to guide discussions, emphasizing cooperation and responsibility. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 was a turning point in history, showing that nations could unite for the greater good. By establishing rights and responsibilities, it kept space peaceful and accessible to everyone. As we look to the stars, the treaty serves as a reminder of what we can achieve when we work together, all of humanity.
Columbia, this is Houston, reading you loud and clear, over.
Yeah, reading you loud and clear. How's it going?
Oh, it's beautiful, Mike, it really is.